So what kind of demands are there? Now there could be various types of demand. It is a very, very important slide, so please stay with me in this, right? So marketers have to manage various states of demand to build an appropriate marketing strategy. So for any effective marketing campaign or strategy to take place, it is very much obvious that the marketeers should be aware of the demand that they'll be handling, right? So the very first things first, you can have a negative demand. So what is a negative demand? So when major parts of the market dislikes the products. Now getting into IIMs as a negative demand, it has been seen that over the years the examinations are getting tougher day by day, and therefore people are getting, they are actually not getting interest, they are not interested in getting into IIMs. They are, but they actually fear whether they'll be able to clear an exam or not. So this is an example of a negative demand, right? For that matter, if your IBPS SO examination becomes tougher year by year, lesser number of candidates should be applying for this particular job, right? So this is an example of a negative demand, right? So getting into IIMs, people are not very much keen. Why? Because the exam is very, very tough, and year on year the number of applicants is reducing because this particular exam is facing a negative demand. But not a negative demand for everyone. They are creating a negative demand for a specific customer group or a specific target, that is dull students. So the tougher the exam, more students will be getting discouraged, and the more number of them would be actually not be willing to give the exams anymore. Second one is no demand. Now this is basically for products or services for which the customers are not aware. They are either not aware or not interested in the product at all. You must have not heard of these kind of nuts, which are called pecan nuts, right? So they are basically, they are dry fruits, they are dry nuts, and they look pretty much alike almonds, but they are slightly sleeker and longer in shape as comparison to almonds. Sorry, walnuts, not almonds, walnuts. So talk about no demand, because people in our country will not be knowing about pecan nuts. Why? Because they must have not seen these nuts, because these nuts basically come from US or maybe countries like Canada. So in our country the demand for pecan nuts is almost nil, because nobody is aware of this particular product or this particular nut, right? So you can understand no demand. Then comes a latent demand. Latent is something which is hidden, not apparently visible, right? So when a strong need exists but cannot be satisfied by the existing product, either if the product is not up to the mark or there are some glitches in the product itself. Now Government of India is pushing use of electric vehicles, but the major automobile manufacturers are pretty apprehensive. They are not very keen on having too much of electrical products on the market. Why? Because their apprehension is that even though if we have the products in the market, we don't have charging stations enough, right? This is one big bottleneck, right? So we have a strong need for electric vehicles, for solar panels to generate electricity, but the major bottleneck and the hurdles will stop people to basically push that particular demand. So the need is there, but that cannot be satisfied by the existing product, because either it fails to meet the quality or the requirements of the consumers, or due to any legal or any environmental issue, they are not basically able to create a better product which can actually serve that particular need, right? Then comes declining demand. So what is a declining demand? Let me first clear the screen for you, right? So declining demand, as the name suggests, when the customers are shifting to better and newer products. So MI band 2 would be facing a declining demand. iPhone 6 would be facing a declining demand. Any car or a motorcycle model which is to be phased out, all BS4 models, now the emission norms say that whatever the vehicles would be sold by the automobile manufacturers have to be BS6 compliant. So all the BS4 automobiles, the cars or the bikes have to be phased out. So they will be facing declining demand. I was just reading in a newspaper today, and you won't believe it, Land Rover Discovery Sports is offering up to 11 lakhs of discount on their models because they are BS4 compliant and not BS6. So the demand is declining, right? What next? You can also come across irregular and cyclic demands. So these demands are not consistent throughout the time period, but they have a waxing waning effect or a cyclic effect, just like you have it for the raincoats, right? So when the season comes, the demand for the raincoats goes up. When the season goes, the demand goes away. Similarly, Odomos, right? Nobody wants to put on Odomos, that smelly ointment or a cream. It smells so bad. But then if you are going on a hiking tour, or if you're going camping, you will be needing an Odomos to keep yourself away from the mosquitoes, or rather to keep the mosquitoes away from you, right? So irregular and cyclic demands. Now there could be full demand also, where your production capabilities just meet the demand levels, right? So when the product capacity is fully utilized, so if you have a factory which is manufacturing say mobile phones, and the factory can manufacture say 1 lakh units in a week, and your demand is exactly 1 lakh units in a week, so you will say that yes, we are facing a full demand. So when product capacity is fully utilized and there is time to maximize profit, so what you will say, okay fine, I have the buyers for whatever I produce, so why not I should be increasing my prices. So I will try and experiment with the prices. I'll take them up till the time the sensitivity is there, and I'll see, okay fine, this is the level till which the customers are willing to pay more and more. Above this they might not be paying. So if there's a scope for me to increase the price of the product, why not? Why? Because I'm already facing a full demand over here. Lastly, you can also face an over full demand, where the demand exceeds your production capabilities. So if the demand is higher than the company can handle, and there is a waiting period for the product, right? I have mentioned iPhone Plus, but it is iPhone X. So iPhone X, sorry, it's not iPhone, it's OnePlus, appropriately mentioned, right? I don't know, I had iPhone into mind, right? So it's OnePlus. So OnePlus 7, OnePlus 7T must be seeing over full demands. And if you talk about the festive season, it is very difficult to get a train ticket, a confirmed train ticket these days, right? So train tickets during holiday season must be experiencing over full demands, right? So that's how it actually goes. So to sum it up, we have a negative demand for people not willing to. Then we have no demand, people are not aware of it, or either don't want the product. Latent demand, there is a strong demand, but the existing offerings are not able to match up, they are not able to keep up or satisfy the consumers. Then there is a declining demand, people are shifting to better, more advanced version of the products, and the products is losing the traction in the market. Then you can have irregular or cyclic demands, which vary with cycles, seasons, time periods, so on and so forth. Full demand, the demand and your production capabilities are just matched up, whatever you can produce is getting sold. And then you have over full demand. Why? Because the production capabilities are far less than the quantity demanded. The last one over here is one more, unwholesome demand. Now a question came last year from unwholesome demand. Why? Because unwholesome demand is basically a kind of demand that has to be discouraged. Example, cigarettes and alcohol. So it's a necessary evil for the government, as the economists say. Majority of the revenue for the government comes from tobacco and alcohol, but then the moral responsibility of the government is to also ensure that the users or the consumers for tobacco or alcohol is not increasing. So therefore they have to understand, they have to create unwholesome demand for such products or services. So I hope you pretty much clear on